Hello and welcome to the first episode of Our20s. I'm Annie, and this is my new podcast about anything that you could experience in your 20s. For this episode, I asked my amazing, beautiful friend Sorsha to join us, and she is a children's librarian, a grad student, an entrepreneur, and a single mom, which is just amazing. And she ended up telling us basically her whole life story. She was very open and vulnerable, and we talked about a lot of serious topics, so I wanted to go ahead and put in a trigger warning. In this episode, we talk about things like drug and alcohol abuse, abortion, suicide, and a lot of just really difficult situations. So thank you, Sorsha, again for being so open with us, and thank you to the listeners for being here. And now let's get into the story. So this is my good friend Sorsha. I invited her on today's episode because her 20s have been crazy, just like everybody's 20s. But she has been filling them up with being a mom and being a graduate student and raising her beautiful little boy, and a ton of other stuff that she will tell you about. So hello, Sorsha. Thank you for coming today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's always amazing to hang out with you. Sorsha and I have been friends for like, I don't know,
10
plus years. We started hanging out pretty hardcore in high school at some point. I just don't really remember when.
It was music theory. That's what
oh my god, I
AP
forgot all
theory.
about that. And then as people in their 20s do, we stopped talking for a little while, and then we rekindled our love, and we're back. So
we are back.
We're back, baby. And Sorsha is going to tell us a lot about her 20s and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing that I asked a lot of people is, can you tell me about your 20s or just describe them in 2 or 3 words or phrases? Like my one friend said, shit show.
2 or 3 words or phrases. Okay. Emotional damage. Off the deep end. And chaos.
Perfect. That sounds like a lot of what most people told me. A lot of people struggled to, like, include anything good. Which, you know, it is what it is about your 20s. But what did you think that your 20s were going to be like? Like, when you were, you know, senior in high school, 17 years old, you know, if you were like me, I thought my 20s were going to be one long party. And they were not. So.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be great. I really did. I also thought it was going to be like one long party. You know, you see all those movies, like everybody's like, oh, I'm so young in a convertible. Look at the wind in my hair. That's what I thought it was going to be like. I thought I was going to have my own place. I could do whatever I wanted. And it was just going to be awesome. I was just going to be partying with my friends the whole time.
So that's not what happened then?
No. Not even a little bit. No.
So I was thinking a good way to go about this would be to go like year by year to give me like, not a lot of detail, but like a pretty brief, like what happened when you were 20? What happened when you were 21? You know? When I was 20, I was at living at my mom's house, community college, working in a drive-thru. That was pretty much it.
Okay, let me think. I think when I was 20, that was my junior year of college, and I was moving into my first house with some roommates.
Which is not always a good... I mean, it's pretty much the only option you get to get out of your parents' house, but most people I know end up hating their roommates, but it's whatever.
Yeah, we were all friends. We were all really good friends, and we were all theater majors, so we all had, like, really, really similar schedules. We were working on the same shows, and we all had known each other for however many years we had already been in the program, so it was great. Well, we thought it was going to be great. And then we, like, moved in, and it was okay. But I'm not going to say any names, but we had one of our roommates was extremely problematic, and Annie, I know you know who I'm talking about.
I think I remember the name, I remember the stories. Didn't you say that this person, like, took all your bill money and, like, bought shoes and left you guys with, like, no electricity?
So she had lived in the house before us, before we moved in,
so she thought it was her house.
Yes, she was like, this is my house.
You're welcome for letting you move into my house.
I have a very specific memory of I moved into this house, and it was me, the girl who had already lived there, and then my other roommate. And then we had another roommate who was coming in a little bit later, like a week later. So I was trying to clean the house because it was disgusting, and I didn't want her to be like, this is disgusting. So I'm trying to clean the house. I had been there like 2 days, and there's just like dead flies all over the sink, in the fridge, like on the
After
stove.
you cleaned or before?
No, this is like when I first moved in.
Okay.
So I was like, well, this is gross. I'm going to clean this. And the girl who had lived there before us, like, she comes in and she sees me cleaning and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm cleaning, you know.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I was like, I'm cleaning. And she was like, well, you've got a lot to learn about living with other people. And then just left. And I was like,
you have to learn that
what?
You can't clean? You're not allowed to clean?
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, well, this is going to be fun. Already, this is going to be fun. But yeah, she, all the bills were in her name. So we would give her checks or cash, and she would pay them, or she said she was paying them. And then we found out she was not paying them. Like, when things started to get shut off, like, our electricity got shut off, our heat got shut off, the Wi-Fi got shut off, and she had not been paying the bills at all and just taking our money and buying stuff.
Classic roommate story.
Yeah, so it was really great. But eventually she moved out from immense pressure from us.
Your 20th year, I will say, was spent in that house. Your junior year of college, like you said. What about your next year?
When I was 21?
You turned 21 and were able to drink for the first time ever in your life.
Yes, for the first time ever in my life. I had my very
first sip of alcohol.
Yes, my very first drink when I turned 21. Yeah, so I was in the same house, and my 21st birthday was lame. It was lame. It was,
I don't remember your 21st, but you were at school, so.
Yeah, so it took place on, like, a Sunday night.
Ooh, fun.
So
prime time party hours.
So my actual birthday was on Monday. So at midnight, it was like Sunday night, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So nobody wanted to go out with me. So it was me and my one roommate, and we just, like, went to the bar, had, like, a couple drinks, and then, like, we came home. And I was like, well,
yeah,
this
my 21st birthday was spent with my mom and her sister at Applebee's. And we had, like, 2 drinks and went home. So I get you. Did you graduate college that year, or was that, like...
No, I graduated college in 2018.
So 5 years after you started?
Yes, I was a super
wow,
senior.
You didn't finish college in 4 years? That's
no,
so weird
I didn't.
and lame.
I know. Yeah,
I'm over here in my 10th year of undergrad, literally. 10 years ago, Sorsh and I were in our senior year of high school, and I'm over here finishing up undergrad, my senior year.
Yeah, I did not do well in undergrad. I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't. The first couple years I did great.
That's
I made
okay.
Dean's
College
List.
is for chumps. Just kidding, Dr. McCool. You know I love you. You know I love college.
No, but like the first couple years I did great. I made the Dean's List both years, like all 4 of those semesters, and it was awesome. But then, I don't know, everything just went downhill. I remember the first time I ever missed class, and then it was, I was like...
Wait, what do you mean the first time you didn't skip class?
No.
Oh
well, for the first 2 years,
class 3 times this week.
What happened, I overslept. I had like a 9 o'clock ballet class, and I overslept, and it was like 9:15. I was like, oh my God, I can't go. It's like across campus.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever missed class, and I think that was my sophomore year. But then, after that day, I was like, wait a minute. I can miss class and not get in trouble?
I can miss class whenever I want? They're not going to call my mom?
Yeah, it was that moment
amazing.
on where I think things went downhill for me.
So that moment of accidentally missing ballet class
turned
you into a super senior. I mean,
yeah, because
whatever.
then I had taken this one class, I think it might have been my junior year, I forget. It might have been my senior year, my second semester, sophomore year, sorry. I forget. But what had happened was I had signed up for this one class. It was like a poli-sci class, and I didn't want to take it. I just needed a gen ed.
Right.
And I go to find this class, like the first day of classes, and I couldn't find it. So I just didn't go, and then I dropped it.
So you still don't know if that class ever actually existed? It was like a limbo class. Like
yeah, I have no idea. To this day, I have no idea where it was. I thought I knew where it was, and I just never went. And then it took like a week of skipping those classes. I just dropped it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can drop classes.
See, I'll get into my college stories eventually on this podcast, but at one point I was in school. I forget what I was about to just say. Okay. I was an economics major back then, and I should not have been, but I took this econometrics class, which is essentially economics combined with statistics. And about 2 weeks in, I was like, yo, there's no way I'm going to pass this class. I'm going to drop it. So I stopped going, but I never dropped it. So I just failed the class. So don't do that. Definitely go drop the classes. That was a shit show. So what else, anything else notable happened when you were 21? You said emotional damage when you were describing your 20s. Is that when that started, or was that later?
Well, I guess I've had emotional damage my whole life, but it really reared its ugly head when I went to college.
So funny. It's the trauma.
Yes, it's the trauma. I don't know what happened with college, but when I went to college, it was probably because I was drinking so much.
Oh my God.
And that's like when I was like, oh wow, there are feelings here, and it got rough. So I was
21. You say there was quite a bit of emotional damage. You were dating bad people, you say?
Wasn't a bad person necessarily, or at least he wasn't bad. I will call him person
he
A.
He was 21 or whatever. You know what I mean?
20.
It's like...
He was a year younger than me, and we had a great relationship for a long time. But then let me think about how this all went down.
I only remember that I met him like one time at EFAM. I might have met him more than once, but I only remember the one time at EFAM, and he, like, I kind of want to say he gave me weird vibes just because of, like,
you made him cry that night.
Oh, what?
After we ate.
I did?
It wasn't EFAM, it was Applebee's, and then we got back to the car, and he was like, my friend was so mean.
Oh my God, I feel a little bit bad. Like, I don't, because he treated you so badly, but, like...
Yeah, near the end there, that's when it really...
I kind of feel bad a little bit.
Well, don't feel bad about it now.
If you're out there, redacted, I'm a little sorry. A little bit.
Yeah.
I just have high standards for my friends' partners.
Yeah, he had this friend, and I believe that this friend, I mean, we were, looking back now, I don't think me and this person were really compatible for the long term, but his friend really put a wedge in between us. He was... Can I curse?
Yeah.
He was such a dick. Oh my God. And
dick is your curse that you would ask
Well,
about.
I don't know. The fucking dick. Like,
there you go. Put a little pepper on it.
I think he might have been in love with my boyfriend at the time because of like how he was. But they had started like dropping acid. And then when they were can I mention that? I don't know.
You can mention anything you want. This is...
They were doing illegal substances. And it was in this period when they were like high or whatever, he was starting to say things like, oh, Sorsha is like messed up and blah, blah, and you shouldn't be with her.
So he would have your boyfriend do hard drugs with him. Is acid a hard drug? I don't know. And then talk shit on you?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, okay.
Precisely.
Like, I guess.
That is precisely what happened. And every single time that he would do acid with this friend, the next day when he would, like, sober up, he would be really weird and be like, man, he was just saying some stuff, and I don't know, it's really getting
and
to me.
And he confessed his love to me. Like, that's just...
Yeah, so eventually that led to us, like, we broke up, and I was, like, messed up with that for a while, because I was like, he's the one!
Yeah, spoiler alert, he wasn't
He's
the
not
one.
the one.
It was not him.
But then eventually he was like, ooh, I miss you too. And we kind of got back together, but, like, there was no label on it.
Oh, so he was using you.
Yes.
That's lame.
Exactly.
Not you're not lame, but he's lame for trying that.
At the time, I was like I fully believed that we were going to get back together and it was all going to be great. Like, he was still telling me he loved me and like all this stuff. So he's seen the light, like, you know?
Yeah.
But then, no. Then, okay, should I talk about the thing?
You can talk about, listen, anything you want.
Okay. Yeah, well, all right, I'll just go for it. Well, then, so I got pregnant, and he was like, well, you got to get rid of this baby or I'm going to ditch you. And I was so in love with him that I was just like, I can't have him leave me again because of how I knew how bad that hurt the first time. And so I did it. And it was horrible. And
yeah,
it's something I wish to this day that I didn't do. Well, I guess it's not necessarily true because now I have Kieran, and if I had not gone through that, I wouldn't have Kieran. But I don't know. It's like the wings.
It's
of
a very
butterfly
complicated
thing.
situation.
It is. It really is.
It always
but
is.
And I probably, wouldn't. Obviously, I would not be where I am today if I didn't do it. So maybe it's like a good thing. I don't know. Everybody can do what they want to do, but for me in that situation, it was not a healthy thing to do.
Right.
Yeah. So that, and then he dumped me anyway.
The way you just dropped that out there. Oh my god.
It was getting a little too deep there. I had to cut that off.
I was waiting for you to bring it up, but like, yeah, he ended up leaving anyway, and you know, I'm gonna try to get through these podcast episodes without saying 20s every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But like, that is kind of one of the things that happens in your 20s is people manipulate you. You end up doing things you don't want to do for the sake of other people.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're so sure of things. You think you are anyway. You think that you're so sure, and you know that like, okay, this is what is going to happen if I do this or don't do this. And it just almost never works out that way. It almost always punches you in your ass anyway and gives you the emotional damage.
Yeah, I think he waited like a week after the procedure happened, and then he was like, yeah.
Wow.
Bye. And I was like, and that was it for me. I was just like, you know what? Fuck you, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. That is a ridiculous thing to do. So
that was also something that was kind of like, maybe this is a blessing in disguise, because then that really allowed me to be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. Which sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that clarity to be like, holy shit, like, I don't want this. I don't want you.
Yeah.
Go away. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to like blow past it, but like going forward, you know, you obviously stopped talking to that guy, right?
Yeah.
So then, 22 came and went. And then 23 is about when you and I broke up temporarily.
Yeah, so that was when...
so I really don't know what happened during your life in that time.
So, at that point, I had gotten together with my son's father.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
excellent.
So it was a few months after I was...
No, wait. You
What?
dated him before, right? Didn't you date him before Person A?
I did.
You know what? Let's just call him Person B. Person A, Person B.
Yeah, because...
You like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, you dated Person B, and then you dated Person A.
Yes, but I had dated Person B when I was like 18.
Oh, so that doesn't
that
matter
was
for
not
this
in my
podcast.
20s.
Save that for another podcast then. I'm not interested.
But yeah, so after Person A, I guess it was like a few months after that, I got back together with Person B. That was pretty great for a little while.
For a little while.
For a little, very, very little while.
Yeah. I remember like right after, because it'll become clearer when our like little fight happened, and if you don't want to talk about that, we don't have to on this.
If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to, but...
I mean, I've already talked about it on podcasts before, so it doesn't really matter to me. But from what I remember, you got back with Person B, and I remember you telling us as in like the friend group that we had at the time, that like you were like amazed at how great it was, because the first time around when you guys were 18, you said that like it wasn't that great. He was really immature, he was kind of dumb, blah blah blah. But then it was like all of a sudden it was like he was a whole different person, because it was like 4 or 5 years later. But
yeah, so we were together for a few months, maybe longer than a few months. I don't know. However long we were together, and then he started. This was what made us break up the first time when we were 18. He just was like a drinker. Oof. And he was not a nice drinker. Like, he wasn't like, ooh, we're having fun, we're drinking. He was like, I'm drunk, let's fight.
Oh god. No thank you.
Yeah, so, and when we got back together, he wasn't really drinking nearly as much as he was before. So I was like, oh wow, he's like a lot better. And then he just started, drinking more and more again. And I remember we had this huge fight. Like, we were screaming at each other outside. We're both drunk. And I just wanted to dump him. Like, I was, like, over it.
Yeah.
And it was really embarrassing, too, because it was at a party at my house. Like, I had all of my friends there. And, like, we're just screaming at each other. And so then I didn't talk to him for, like, a few days. Like, the fight was so bad, and I was so over it. I was just like, I just need a few days, like, on my own to think about things. And then I found out I was pregnant.
Love that.
Kiernan is a real human.
Angel. We love him.
Yes. So then I was like, fuck, like, I can't just, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, in retrospect, looking back,
Kids
I
complicate everything.
Yeah, I should have just dumped him and never told him I was pregnant, knowing what I know now. Wish that's what I did. But we'll get to that. We got back together, whatever, or not back together because we didn't break up, but, like, we were, like, fine then. I was like, hey, I'm pregnant, woo. He got a new job, and so things were looking pretty good. Like, we were okay then, and I was still living in that stupid house with, like, 5 freaking roommates. But then I was like, well, I have more college to do. I had I was in the middle of a semester, and then I had a whole other semester before graduation. So I finished out the one semester, so my whole first trimester was at school, which sucked. I had all these early-ass classes. Oh, my God. And then my last semester, I moved back in with my parents, and I did my last semester online. And then I went back for graduation, walked across that stage, looking like a blimp. It was great.
Good for you, though.
Thank you. I worked really hard.
You did.
Oh, and I got engaged. I got engaged.
So he proposed.
To person B. He proposed. It was great.
So
I was
real
really
quick,
happy.
I just want to interject. In between you graduating and getting proposed to is when the fight happened. And, like, it wasn't... I keep saying the fight.
I totally... Yeah, like, forgot.
But, like, it wasn't even a fight between me and Sorsha. It was just, like... It was, like I said, I'll get into this stuff on another situation, but I just want to make it clear that, like, this point is really where I lost contact with you. And, like, the next 2 years, I think, I was just, like, clueless about everything that was going on in your life.
Yeah,
But I did know that you got engaged. It was around Christmas time, right?
Yes, because we had our falling out around Thanksgiving. It was the Friends Thanksgiving incident that happened.
Yep.
And I don't know.
That was actually the day that you told the group you were pregnant.
It was, yeah. I told everybody I was pregnant that day. And that was what made me so upset because you didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. And again, like...
Which we have reconciled.
We have talked about this a million times, but, like,
have.
just to clear up so that I don't sound like an asshole, but, like, there was a party being held at my house, even though I did not want the party to be held at my house. And then I couldn't attend the party because I had to work. When I got home from work, the people at my house that were throwing the party at my house that I didn't want to have at my house had invited strangers to my house. So I got home from work and met a bunch of strangers. And then I just, like, mentally checked out and basically, like, turned on the heel and walked back to my car and just left. So, like, I truly I had no idea about any of that. That you, like, had an announcement or anything.
Yeah, and I didn't know about any of that.
Right.
Because Annie's roommate was our mutual friend. And she did not, like, relay, like, any of that information to us. She had said that you had to work, but you were going to come after.
Right. She just left out the part where I said, hey... it'd be cool if we could have a party, but can it be on a day that I can come to? And everybody said, no, we don't really care if you can be there or not. We just want it to be at your house.
I did not know that.
Which is whatever. Like, there was, and that's part of why, like, I reached out. Anyway, this is, like, too much, too deep.
We know, we know what we
Sorsha
know.
and I have moved past it. I've moved past, like, the rest of the people involved. It's not, like, it's not anything that weighs on my mind, but it is, like, important in your story just because I don't know what happened in your life after this point, once you got engaged.
It wasn't just you that I lost contact with. So, yeah, this is, like, an important part of, like, my journey
because of
in
that
my
fight?
20s. Not because of that fight. So, when I got pregnant, everybody was really, really excited for me. like, oh my god, you're pregnant, I can't wait to be an aunt or whatever. Probably like 80% of the people that I used to talk to before I got pregnant, I will talk to like once a year now. And that's because I reach out.
Yeah.
People just don't want to be around kids. And like some of my friends, they were still, you know, and I don't like blame them for this because we were 23, you know, 23, 22, whatever, how old we were, 23. I think I had Kieran maybe when I was 24. I guess I was 23. Whatever, irrelevant. We're like 23. So you want to go out, you want to have fun, you want to party, whatever. So I just felt really left out,
right,
not included. Even like things that didn't include drinking, I was not invited to because people assumed that I didn't want to go because I'm pregnant. And that's like not the case.
We've been left out of a lot of stuff because people assume things too, like.
Yeah. And I've had like since Kieran has been born, and I guess maybe it was around like he was like a year old or something, and I was like telling my friends like how all of this was making me feel, because that's how long it was going on. It was ongoing. Like even after he was born, like people were like, well, you don't want to go anywhere.
Because like pregnancy's not going to chase me away. It was just like the rest of it, you know. If anything, now that I have my kid, it's like I understand even more, and we're even more inclined to hang out because it's more understandable, and like we can bond over it in a way, you know.
Yeah, and I can't tell really if it's because like we're all getting older and people don't want to go out and party as much, or if it's because I had these conversations with them that made it like, oh, let's start including social more. Because I still am excluded, like to this day, from a lot of things, like trips or whatever. Like people just assume like I can't make the arrangements, and you know what? To be honest, probably can't. I probably wouldn't be able to go. But
with
I
my
still
dogs,
want to feel like you're thinking about me, like because
right.
it just makes me feel like you don't want to be my friend because I have a child.
Right.
Which sucks, but whatever. Okay, back. We're getting off.
Back
here.
to our story.
Yeah, we're getting off.
So,
here. So
you were 22,
20,
pregnant,
yeah.
20,
whatever. I was around that age. 23.
So this
24.
was in 2017, right?
I remember having a
the
birthday
Friendsgiving and everything happened was in 2017. So that's when you were pregnant. You got engaged around Christmas 2017.
Yes, it was.
The following January is when.
Oh,
really when the falling out happened with the friend group, and also
that's when things really started going downhill in my relationship too.
Yeah.
So I was just feeling really shitty. So my fiance at the time, person B, truly awful. His brother committed suicide, and it just everything went to shit. Like, and it never got any better. He, you know, I had mentioned before he had some like alcohol abuse issues
seems like
before.
dependency issues on things.
He's struggled with substance abuse, and even at this point things were starting to get a little rocky because he worked really far away. He worked 2 hours away. He didn't want to get a job closer. He really, really believed that he was, or at least this is what he made me believe, that he believed that he was going to do great things in this company he was working at. So I was like, okay, well, let's just stick it out. And then we're like saving money. That's why we were living with my parents. We're saving money so we can get a good place of our own. And whatever. So it'll all be great. We'll live closer then to where you work, and when we have this money and whatever. And then when the thing with his brother happened, he just like he like wasn't even really trying to cover up the fact that he did not want to be responsible for anything.
Right. He just wanted to play, basically.
Yeah. Which, you know, like, I don't want to be like, oh, you're going through a hard time, fuck you. Like, because that's not how it was. I was trying really, really hard to help and
understand that, like, in your 20s, things that you would never expect to happen, like losing a brother, they just jump up on you. And, like, you're not expecting it. You don't know how you're going to react. And, you know, maybe he didn't handle it perfectly.
Yeah. And, you know, that can happen. Right. But he also was not even willing to try to get any help.
Right. He wasn't, like, looking into any of the healthy methods of, like, dealing with what happened.
Yeah. My mom even, like, could see that things were What?
I said, shout out, Mom. Love you.
Yeah, love you, Mom. My mom could even see, and my dad too. But
Shout out, Dad.
Yeah, love you, Dad. But like my mom really, she was like coming to him like, you know, Sorsha goes to this therapist, like she really likes her, like maybe you should like see somebody like or a grief counselor, or like she was like bringing him these resources, and he was just like, nah, I'm good. And then like the accidents started happening, car accidents. He would be coming home and he would drive my car because he didn't have one because he totaled it. LOL. So he would be coming home, there's like scratches on the car, there's dents on the car, and he would be saying people were hitting him, whatever. It was about a week before my due date, so I'm 9 months pregnant.
39 weeks.
Woo!
Ready to pop.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be home. He was supposed to have gotten home at like 10 o'clock or something. And, you know, time keeps going on and on and on. It's like midnight, it's 1 o'clock. And I'm like calling him repeatedly. Like, I think I was getting really scared because at this point he has come home drunk, like driving drunk more times than I can count on both hands. So I was getting really, really scared. And I probably called him like at least like 30 times with no response whatsoever. And then eventually my fear just turned into anger and I just got pissed. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to bed. And he came crashing in at like 4 a.m. and he was completely loaded, like just completely off his ass. And I was just like, where have you been? And the first things out of his mouth that he could barely even articulate because he was so drunk was, we need to take out another insurance claim on the car. And I said, why? Because
why?
literally it was literally like 4 days before he had gotten into an accident where he said that somebody ran him off the road, which was not true. He was just drunk.
He just drove off the road.
Yes. And so I go out and I see the car, like he shows me the car. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. The whole right side of the car was gone.
Like missing.
Completely gone. And all of the airbags are out. And I was just dumbfounded. I was like, why didn't you call me? Like, what happened? And he said he came out of work and the car looked like that.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, that's bullshit. But I was like, well, why didn't you call me and tell me? And he's like, I didn't know.
He didn't know. So
and
like,
I said, how did you not know your airbag is deployed?
the one that's right in front of your face.
Yeah, like literally every single airbag was out, and even like the ones in the back, like, you know, whatever. And he was just like, I don't know. And then I was just like, fuck this. And I just checked out and was like, I'm not even dealing with this right now. I'm going to bed. And I go back inside, I crawl into bed, too angry to even go to sleep, so I'm just playing on my phone, and he passes out on the floor. Like, he curls up into a ball and falls asleep on the floor. And then, like, maybe 45 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. I go and answer it, and it's a police officer. And that police officer looked at me with so much pity, because I'm huge. Right. And he was like, is this your car? And I was like, that's my car, but I was not driving it. And I just kicked him in the side and was like, get up! And then my dad came downstairs, and it was also embarrassing.
Yeah.
And they had told us that the car was involved in hit and run, and he had hit another car. There was a person in the car he hit.
There was a person in it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And he just drove away. And he did not get a drunk driving anything because there was no way to determine if he had and this was my dad that helped him get out of that.
Yeah.
There was no way to determine if he was drunk in the car.
Right. Or if he came home.
And then got drunk.
Right, and got drunk after. Yeah. That is a classic defense for people that are in, like, DUI or hit and run situations.
And you know what? Like, looking back, I probably, like, I enabling him a little bit too much. Because he was just getting away with all of this stuff.
Yeah, but like...
not getting really any consequences.
But who wants their baby daddy in jail? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like... It was such a difficult situation.
And
because
how do you make that choice?
It's just... It was like, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I can't do this by myself. I'm not even done college, and I don't have a job.
Alert. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. You totally can.
And you're killing it.
Yeah, thank you. But at the time, I didn't know that I could. And then, this happens, and the baby's gonna be born in like 7 days, literally. And I'm like, I can't dump him. I don't want him to go to jail. So I really let this situation kind of go because I didn't know what else to do. Like,
I mean,
spoiler alert, listeners. I do get fed up eventually.
She does, yes.
So we're gonna take this next year just really quick because it's all pretty much the same. Is that okay?
Right. I did want to touch on real quick, like, I know this is kind of a weird time to bring this up, but when did you start your business?
Oh, that Kieran was about a year old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get there. Never mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so, I have my baby. He was absolutely perfect and beautiful and wonderful in every single way.
Still perfect and beautiful. Sitting on my couch watching Bluey right now.
Currently
Adorable.
he's watching Bluey right now
eating
on
crackers.
Annie's couch. Yep, eating crackers. And, yeah, and it was pretty great. I mean, Kieran was great. Person B was a piece of shit. Like, literally, so I was in labor for about 2 days. And
2 days?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We had one last hurrah, one last date night on my due date. On my due date, we went to Olive Garden, one last date night, which that was shitty too, because Person B said that he was going to, pay for dinner. This was a running theme with him that he was always saying that he was going to take me out and then I would have to pay. This night, though, he was saying, it's our last hurrah for the baby. I'll pay. Get whatever you want. Like, whatever you want dessert, get it. You want apps, get it. You want sides, get it. And I was like, I will. So I ate so much food. And those people, they gave me the biggest slice of tiramisu I have ever seen at Olive Garden. I was like, hell yeah. So it was
they
great.
Love me.
And then I went into labor in the parking lot.
Jesus, okay.
I ate all of this food. It's not as extreme as like what people think when you say I went into labor. It's not like, oh my God, I'm having a baby in the parking lot. It's not like that at all.
Yeah.
But eventually he's born. It's all great. Woo, woo. I won't go into the whole birth story.
Now he exists. Woo.
Yay.
All right, so let's think. You're 24. Kieran is 0.
Kieran is 0.
He's 2 hours old. Person B is being a B word all the time.
Yeah, and even in the hospital, he was not really there. He was like, I'm going to go get some...
I'm so surprised. He seemed to be so supportive up until now.
He was like, I'm going to go get some lunch, and then he came back like 6 hours later, and I was like, where have you been? And he was like, oh, I couldn't find the cafeteria. It was really far away. And I was like,
Jesus. We've
We've got room service. They will send us food, which I had told him, and he was like, I don't want to bother anyone. I was like, you just don't want to be here. Shut up. Shut up. Yeah, and so the whole first year of Kieran's life, he was not really that present. He after he totaled the car, he was forced to get a job closer because I was not going to let him drive the new car.
Right.
At all.
Right.
And even the insurance company was like, he can't drive the car. And so I had to drive him to work every day and home every day, which sucked.
It's a good use of your time.
Yeah, right? With a newborn. Yay. Right. Let me just let my vagina heal. Not. So, yeah. So I had to do that every day. So he started working closer. Still far enough away to be annoying. At this, I was learning from one of his coworkers that he was spending a lot of time at the local bar. Yeah, so eventually, the whole first year is pretty shitty with Person B. Kieran was great. I really, really struggled, though. That was a rough... I had postpartum depression really, really badly. And Kieran, my son, he looked so much like my brother when he was a baby that I was having, postpartum. And so I'm looking at him. I'm really depressed. He looks like my brother. And in my mind, I was like, this isn't my baby. Like, it literally was like, this is not my baby.
What?
It was really, really difficult to form that attachment.
That's crazy.
Early on.
Did you ever think you were gonna, like, run?
No. There were a lot of times, though, where I would just, you know, you ever get in that depressive state and you just zone, like, you dissociate really.
Yeah.
We would be, like, going to the grocery store or something. I would be driving, and we would get there, and I would just turn the car off, and I would just be like...
just staring. All she's doing is staring. If you
Yeah. And I would hear him talking to me like, hey, are you okay? But I could not even
I've been in that
words.
state where, like, you know when you see in the movies when the person's, like, soul floats away and they can, like, look down on their body? It feels exactly like that.
Yes, and I had a lot of problems with that when I worked at Dairy Queen, too. And I remember, like, when we would work together and I would be making mistakes and you would be, because I would dissociate really, really badly. And you would be like, Saoirse, why you give me cookie dough? Give me cookie dough blizzard! And I'm just like...
What is cookie dough?
Yeah, I don't even know if you even actually knew that. That's when I really started to dissociate really badly.
No, I don't think I did.
No, I don't think I didn't tell anybody for a long time.
Back in those days when we were working at Dairy Queen together, I was so wrapped up in, like, myself, as most 18-year-olds are. You know what I mean? I was just, like, worried about what was going on with me and trying to figure out, like, the same stuff you're talking about, really, but just, like, not realizing that other people
are
probably
also
were going
experiencing that.
And also, Dairy Queen was such a freaking hellhole.
Oh my god.
It was really so hard to, like...
It was tough.
Although, that one couple that met there did get married recently. And that was actually a couple years ago, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what? I hate that bitch so much.
Me too!
I have never, ever, ever hated a person until I met her. Anyway... Where was I in the story?
Talking about you were dissociating.
Oh, yeah. So, I started going back to therapy, and that really, really helped. Person B was just, not helping anything. One night he came in, and this will be, like, one of the only stories I tell in this first year, but I feel like it's pretty important. Just to it really exemplifies how he was when Kieran was a baby. He shows up drunk, you know, at like 2 a.m.
As you do.
2 a.m.
As an alcoholic do.
He had been with a friend or something like that. Or no, he got his uncle gifted him a car, I think. Was that? He gifted him a car at some point, and that's when he started coming back in at like 2 a.m. drunk. Again. And he shows up. Kieran's probably like 4 or 5 months. I don't know. He was really young. He probably was younger than that, actually. And person B had come in drunk again one night. And this was when I really lost my mind. And I was yelling at him, and I said, I don't even want to look at you. Like, just go downstairs. If you come home drunk one more time, I'm done. Like, that's it. I don't care. And he went down to the basement, and then, like, I made him go to the basement because I didn't even want to look at him. Because at this point, Kieran was sleeping alone in our bedroom. And then we'd been sleeping on the couch, for, like, a few months. And Kieran didn't sleep through the night until he was like 10 or 11 months old, and it was when I started sleeping on the couch was when he really started to sleep through the night.
Where do you sleep now?
I moved back to my old bedroom,
okay.
And Kieran is in my brother's room.
Okay. I was like, you're not still fucking sleeping on the couch, are you?
No, because that was when we were in my dad's room. So when Kieran was a baby...
Right.
Yeah,
you guys had like the garage room.
Yeah, when Kieran was a baby, we lived... my dad moved into my room, and I moved into my dad's room because he had the big space. But then we'll get to that next part. But yeah, so I'm 24. I'm 24 at this point, I guess. And I'm screaming at the person who was supposed to be my life partner. And I sent him down to the basement, and then I go upstairs. And and I was like, I'm not done yelling at him yet, because I was like hoping for him to come back upstairs, and like this is This is a toxic trait, I think.
I'm
Mine,
like that too. Sometimes I'll like, me and Pedro will get in a fight, and I'll be mad, I'll get my car and leave, and then I'll start texting him, and I'll be like, you know what, I'm not freaking done.
Yeah, because in my mind, I'm like,
Right.
I just yelled at you, and you didn't say sorry, so I'm waiting for you.
Or it's like, I just got more things I gotta say to you about
like,
it.
I want you to come up here and apologize to me. And he didn't, So I was like, well, I got more to say! So I yelled at him some more. And then I was done. And then he kind of stepped it up after that a little bit, which is kind of shame, really. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it probably would not have lasted, but he made Kieran breakfast. Shocking.
Wow.
I know. Oh yeah, listeners, he did not like to feed his own child because he thought it was gross.
Gross?
Yeah.
What?
One time I went to go...
What can be gross about it? Like, it's not like you have to breastfeed him. Not that breastfeeding's gross, but, like, some people feel like it's gross, you know?
And they shouldn't because it's natural.
There you go. But you know what I mean? It's like...
I don't know. So, about a week after about a month after Kieran's first birthday. And so I guess this is like a week after that drunk incident where I screamed at him so much. I woke up to a anonymous Facebook message. Yeah, now it's
I didn't know we were going to go here.
Oh, you didn't know we were going to go here? I'm in it now. I'm telling my life story. This is my 20s. So, I am 24 or 25. I get this message on Facebook. And it said that person B, my fiance, was going around shooting up various drugs, sharing needles, having unprotected relations, if you will, with women and men, and that he thought I should know about it. And that these people that he was sleeping with and sharing needles with had HIV.
Lovely.
And I was like, is this gonna be? So I woke up Brad, and I was like, what is this? And I showed him the message, and Kieran had started crying like he woke up for the morning, so I go in and I go get him, and I come back out, and Brad was just like, he had read the message. Person B had read the message, and he was like, I don't know what this is. Like, he was, like, denying it. And I know, I've known him for a long time. And I know he's a bullshitter. So I was just like, you know what? I don't care what you say. We're all getting tested.
Good call.
No matter what you are telling me. So if you've got something to say, tell me now. And his response was, oh, well, maybe I was shooting up. And I blew up.
As you should.
I was sitting on the couch when we were talking, and I stood up so fucking fast. I was like, listen! And he looked scared. He jumped back, and I was just like, get out of my house! I threw the ring at him. Like, I'm laughing now, but it really was truly traumatic. And I threw the ring at him. I told him he had to, like, leave the house. And at this point, I was actually really scared. I wasn't, like, in that moment I was angry, but then after I told him to leave the house, I was scared because I didn't know who he was. Like, who is he? And I really believed that he would, like, hurt us to, like, try to keep this a secret.
Yeah. I could see why you would think that.
I don't know. Whatever. So I was scared. And my mom was in surgery. Like, she was literally getting prepped for surgery while this is happening. So my dad is with her, and I called my dad immediately, and obviously he didn't answer. And then I called again, and my dad told me later on, he was like, when I heard the double call, I knew it was an emergency. So he answered the phone, and I tell him everything.
Shout out, Dad.
Yeah, I love you, Dad. And I told him everything. I was like, person B has HIV. He's doing drugs. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And my mom is hearing this conversation as she's getting prepped for surgery. The nurses and the doctors all heard it.
Why would you?
I don't know if I
Listen.
was on speaker or if that's just how loud I was talking.
Like, shout out Dad, but if you had that conversation on speaker, maybe don't.
Yeah,
Love you, Dad.
I don't think I was on speaker. I think that's just how loud
You
I
were
was
just
talking
screaming.
on the phone.
Makes sense.
And my mom was like, they just put a needle in my arm. Like, I literally just got the anesthesia. I can't go anywhere. You know? Which was probably actually a blessing, because my mom later told me that if she was not literally under, she was going to go and do something illegal.
That's what I would do if I ever saw that scrawny little bitch again.
And even the doctor was like, you can go now. My dad comes home. We all wait until whatever time that urgent care opens up. Go, and we all pile in the car, go over. Everybody gets tested. I had to hold down my 1-year-old son as he got needles shoved into his arms to get tested for HIV. And it was truly horrible. Really, really, like, you know, big spot in my 20s there. Bringing it back around to 20s.
Woo.
And, and then we get back to the house, and I told him he had to leave, and that was it. And
awesome. That's the best part of the story. It's my favorite part so far.
Yeah, it's my favorite part, too. And he put his stuff in a trash bag, as much as, like, he could within, like, the next half hour, because that's all the time he had. And my dad drove him to a Sheetz or a Walmart or something, and then he got an Uber home all the way 2 hours to his mom's house.
Yo, your dad just drove. What do you think your dad said to him?
I don't know, because, you know, I never really asked him what happened in that car ride. He told me, like, we were having this, we talk about this a lot because, you know, it was a big traumatic part of my life. And, you know, spoiler alert, person B is still a part of my life. Not that I really want it to be. But, so I was talking to my dad about it, like, a couple months ago, and he said that he had, I don't know, like, my dad said something like, you screwed up. And person B just did, like, a belly cry. Like truly, like, from the gut, like, a sob. Like a real one. Not like, ooh, this is fake. Like, it was a real cry. And I was just like, I don't fucking care. Good.
That's why I said good.
Yeah. But I don't know what else was said. And, right before person B left, he asked for money. He asked me for money because he didn't have any money
Of course he did.
To go get an Uber to the 2 hours to his mom's house.
Go live behind Walmart, bud.
And I wanted him gone so badly. I just gave him $300. I know, probably too much, but
I would have given him maybe 30.
That's just how badly I wanted him to go away. I just wanted him to be gone. I just gave him the money.
That's amazing.
And he left. And then we didn't hear from him for about a year. He was just gone.
And that brings me back into your story.
Yeah.
Because I texted you sometime in March of 2020. It was right after COVID started. And you told me that you hadn't heard from person B in months at that point. So
yeah.
That's when I came back around.
And that's, it was a little bit before he left. It was when I started Scent Mama.
There you go.
Which has now been demised, but...
Oh no, you officially killed her?
I didn't officially kill her, but, like, let's be real.
Yeah. So what Scent Mama is Sorsha's small business, which she had been on a extended hiatus for, because you didn't know if you wanted to keep going with it, right? Is what you told me? Yeah,
but, I mean... I'm pretty busy. I just don't have time or
and that's all good.
To do it.
I love Scent Mama. Sorsha, Scent Mama is your alter ego where you make all kinds of fragranced goods.
Yes.
Soaps, lotions, like
candles,
beard care, candles. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I might just use the rest of my stock to make a crap ton of Christmas presents.
That would be a really good idea. That was like a go-to for my Christmas was always like a couple of your little goodies for each person.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
So when you started right after B name, B, what were we calling him? Person B.
Person B.
You started your business right after Person B.
It was right before he left.
Right before all that happened.
Yeah. But it really got going after he left. Because I was like, well, I need money.
That's really awesome. And what kind of led you to start the business?
I wanted to do something where I could stay at home and be with Kieran, but still make money. And I had been making candles just as presents, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Christmas before our fight, or the Christmas of the fight.
Yeah, which those candles were ass.
I'm not gonna lie, mine did smell a little weird, and I did not end up keeping it.
That's because
that's okay.
I colored them with crayons.
Oh, wow.
So that's why they smell weird.
It. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that candle.
They got a lot better, everybody.
They did. Source's products are amazing. I personally hope that you revive Scent Mama. You bring her back from the dead. Because it was super, super awesome. Like, it's good products, and it was super cool that you were able to, like, balance that. I remember when I found out that you were doing it, like, we had stayed friends on Facebook even though we weren't talking, and, like, you were just posting pictures, and I actually ordered some stuff from you.
Yeah, you did.
And got it sent out to where I was living with Pedro at the time. And it was just some, like, I think it was just wax melts and lip balms, but I still have them. I still have the lip balms. So you started your business in 2019? Or 20...
Yeah, probably 2019, because Kieran was born in 2018.
Yeah.
And I think he was, like, just under a year when I started officially selling. Yeah. This part of my life is kind of boring. Like,
I'm also not a great interviewer, so I'm not good at thinking of the questions on the spot, and, like, I have a few to go off of, but...
After person B, after I kick him out, and he's kind of silent for a year, it was, my life was kind of boring.
Yeah.
My goddaughter was born, so I started watching her. I did that and sent Mama for money. I was like, I don't want to say like her nanny, because they brought her. It was like a daycare kind of out of my house, and I watched like a couple other kids too, but she was like my regular. I had her every day. Yeah, so I did that, and like I didn't really know what to do, because like my bachelor's was in theater, and that was like my plan. Like, I thought that I was gonna be like, I was gonna move to New York or like to Philly or something, and like audition and be a star. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought I was going to be doing theater. Like, I was fully prepared to do the hustle, like to be like a working actor.
Yeah.
Instead I had to do the hustle in a different way.
Yeah, but listen. You're fucking hilarious. I was looking through our old yearbook, and I saw your senior quote, or not your senior quote.
Oh, my like aspiration. It makes me sad, like thinking back to it.
Yeah, but like mine also makes me sad, because I'm pretty sure I just wrote to be happy, and like still haven't done that yet. So like, you know what I mean? But it's whatever. Yeah, that's your 20s.
Mine was like to be nominated for Best Actress by the time I'm 25 or something like that.
I'll nominate you.
Bitch, I'm 27.
Oh, right. 27.
Yeah.
It feels so weird. I remember 25, my 25th birthday was May, right after COVID started. And I had probably 8 or 9 breakdowns in like the week and a half leading up to my birthday over the fact that I was turning 25 and had done nothing with my life. You know what I mean? I felt so like just pointless and like honestly just stupid, because they always like, that's kind of what you're taught to think, that like if you're not making a lot of money, you're stupid or lazy, or both. But you're really it was wrong. A combination. Yeah, well, I was doing a few things wrong, but it was a combination of I was on the wrong path in school. You know what I mean? I was, like I said, I was an economics major, and no, you know what I mean? That's not for me. I'm a media major now, which is why we're making this podcast. And then not only that, but right before that, I was in my car accident and had to stop going to school, had to stop working, and completely had to rely on my mom and Pedro to do everything. And I still kind of do, because I still don't have a job. I pull my own around here, you know what I mean? I do my fair share of the load. But yeah, I had a million breakdowns, because I was like, I'm 25, and by the time you're 25, you're supposed to, you know, like, I don't have a degree, I don't have a job, I don't have anything. Like, I wasn't even technically on the lease for the house we were living in. I was like, I don't have nothing, you know? And it was just, like, really, It was a really shitty feeling, and I still feel like that sometimes, because now I'm 27, and like I said, I've been in school, not consecutively, but for the last 10 years I've been trying to get this undergrad degree done, and it's just been, like, I look around at the younger kids that I'm in school with that are going to be listening to this, no offense to you guys, and I just get, like, upset, because it's like, why are you doing it right, and I fucked it all up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I feel like that sometimes, too. One of the questions that you had sent me to, like, start thinking about, like, all this stuff, was, like, do you feel, like, outside pressure to be somewhere different? And, like, I totally do. Like, everybody I know is either, like, in, like, a long-term committed relationship, or they're married, or, like, they have their own house, or they live away from their parents, and I'm a single mom living at home.
Yeah, I get that. Because I feel Pedro and I bought this house and got engaged recently in the last, like, year and a half. And sometimes I feel like both of them were, like, a big mistake that we weren't, like, ready for. You know what I mean? Like, I regret buying the house most days and stuff, and I feel like pretty much the only reason we did it is because everybody else was buying a house.
Yeah, like, you have to
you know, I was like, and, like, we had the money, and we were renting, and the house was, or the place we were renting was a little too small. But again, I feel like none of those were the right reasons. And then when we got engaged, we kind of also were just kind of looking around. We were like, man, we've been together for 5 years. Everybody else is engaged. Should we just do this? You know what I mean? And we did. And, like, I don't regret getting engaged, but I kind of regret, like, how we went about it. And it's not that we weren't ready to be engaged, because, again, we're already in this very serious position, and we own a house together, and we've been raising his kid for years together now. So it's not like it would change a whole lot, but at the same time, like, it is its own thing that, like, should happen when it's and it just felt like there was a lot of pressure that, like, nobody was coming up to me and being like, why aren't you engaged yet? I mean, I think Pedro's mom was a little bit, because she gave him the ring, like, 3 years ago. But, yeah, so the question, was about, like, age-related pressure, meaning, like, pressure surrounding the age that you are and what you're doing, and if you're doing the right things, you know, that, like, people or society or even, like, TV, whatever. I always feel like I should have done more or better or faster or...
Faster. That's what I feel. Like, yeah.
But, like, I don't know. It's just... This topic and this podcast is so hard to talk about, because it's like... It is and it isn't, because, like, you can just sit here and bond over your trauma all the time, but at the same time, it's like... What do you even say? You know? About, like, this constant expectation to... Like, when you look at it from the outside, you see somebody graduates high school at 18. They go to college, they graduate college when they're 22. By then, usually they had, like, started dating somebody in the last year. So they start their career, and they're dating a little bit more seriously. And then once your career is established, you're supposed to be engaged. And then after that, you're supposed to get married. And then a year or two later, you're supposed to have kids.
It's like a timeline.
Right. And it's so rigid and like, creepy in a way, and, like, heteronormative, and... It makes so many people feel like they're not on the right timeline.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, since person B, I have dated, like, a few people, and they've all been kind of, you know, duds, whatever. Yeah. And I just got out of a very short relationship, like, kind of recently-ish.
It was, like, the summer, right?
Yeah, it was, like, the summer. And I was just kind of, like, when I was with that person, I feel like I've reached a point, and now I will gladly just say this, but I feel like I had reached a point where I did, like, for, like, the first time in my life, I realized I don't want to really be with anyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had been trying to force that for a long time. And now I can't, like, I don't want to share my space. I don't want to share my bed. I don't want to worry about what the other person's doing. I just don't want to change the way I want to live. I just don't want to do it. Yeah. I don't want it. And maybe that stems from all this, like, trauma that I have just spoken about. Maybe it does. But, like, I just don't want it. I am perfectly, and maybe this will change
I'll tell
in
you
the future,
secret.
but yeah.
I don't want it either. No, I mean, I already have it, and I love Pedro so much, but, like, sometimes I do get really mad at the fact that, like, I can't be like, okay, this is where we're gonna fold up and keep the towels now. Like, if I want to change something about my home and my space, I have to, like, make a freaking PowerPoint presentation about it so that, like, everybody in the house gets on board and knows what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of exhausting. And, like, I kind of just sometimes wish I had, like, a one-bedroom apartment that was always clean and quiet and decorated the way I want. But it's okay. I'm good here.
Yeah.
We're fine,
like,
you know?
You know, like, I live with my parents, and it very much... I love my parents so much, and like I said, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now if it wasn't for their support, but, you know, it very much does feel like I am a guest in the house a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I love my mom. I love you, Mom. She's very, very, you know...
She likes it her way,
she does
which
like
is fine. It's her house.
It is her house. I get it. It's my dad's house, but whatever.
Well,
I digress.
Still frustrating.
But there's no space for me.
Yeah.
Like, she has so much stuff. And I cannot... She likes things the way that they are. And I cannot really change how things are done, even if they would be better. So I just... Oh, God. And, like I just explained, all of this... Like, I am constantly doing stuff to please others, and I don't want to do it anymore. I'm over it.
My therapist told me... And, like, this happens so many times where, like, my therapist tells me something so basic and, like, straightforward that I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. But she was like, hey, you don't have to do things if you don't want to. And I was like,
I just had this conversation with my therapist.
My mind was blown. I was like, wait a minute. And the one time I was complaining about, like, why do I have to be so nice all the time? And she was like, you don't have to be nice.
Like, yeah, why are you nice? You don't have to.
I was like, I always have to follow all the rules and do everything, like, wait my turn and blah, blah, blah. She was like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, whenever I say stuff like that, my therapist is like, why?
Right. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, you're so right. I can do whatever I want. This is crazy.
I literally just, like, had that same conversation with my therapist. And
we love therapy.
Oh, yes.
It's so good.
I fully believe everybody should have a therapist.
I haven't talked to my therapist in a while because it's actually been since, like, probably a month.
I
just, like, haven't had time.
Yeah,
and I've been trying to, like, get incorporated into her, like, personal practice, and it's just been, like, taking a while. But I'm
my next meeting with her?
looking forward to going back because I've had a lot of things to work through. But yeah, it seems like you just want, like, a little bit more control over your life, which is understandable because you spend however many years when you're a kid supposedly, like, living with your parents, you know. And I say supposedly because a lot of people don't move out after they're an adult.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But, like, you spend all these years when you're a kid being like, man, when I grow up, I'm going to do this, in my house this.
Yeah.
And then you're grown up and you still can't have it the way you want it. And it's like, what is this lie I've been fed my whole life? It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's so true. It is so true. Yeah. But, I don't know.
But to double back to the, like, progression through your 20s. Once we were both 25, we started, like, talking and hanging out again. And then that was, like, all through COVID, and then that brings us up to, like, the last 2 years. So, like, is there anything from, like, 25 through 27 that is right that you want to include in your story?
Well, person B came back.
Right.
Yeah.
Not, like, fully back to be with you.
No.
Just to
No, we are not together.
fulfill his duties.
He is trying really hard to get back together with me, and it disgusts me every single time.
Honey, that'll never, ever, ever happen. If you're out there, person B, and I have a feeling you will listen to this.
Oh my God.
It'll never happen. She'll never...
Try to figure out a way where he does not listen to this. Block him on everything. Because he will use this to, I don't know. He is very spiteful.
There's nothing he can do. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any power.
This isn't him. How do you know it's you?
Yeah, it's not you. It's a different person B who got
my name isn't social.
Who's the father of your child. Anyway.
No, but it's just, no.
So you've spent the last 2 years trying to balance that with being in school and everything.
We're slowly trying to immerse him back into Kieran's life. You know, it started out with only video chats, and that was also during COVID. And then I think it was Kieran's, like, third birthday was when they saw each other in person for the first time since he was 1. And so we've been doing, like, monthly visits. And I started going to grad school.
Which is amazing, by the way, because
thank you.
I I'm an undergrad right now, like I've said 10 times, and I'm taking 6 classes right now, and bro,
6 classes is a lot.
It is, but like if you think about the load with like, I feel like it's probably the same load as a regular semester in master's degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we only can take 2 classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So maybe not. I feel like it's probably, I don't know if it's more or less. I've never been in grad school.
It's a lot.
It's just,
it is a lot.
It's like I have like 10 or 12 assignments due every week, and it's like, bro,
yeah, same.
Bro.
Yeah, but right now it's kind of mellowing out because it's the end of the semester, and
aren't you done? Like, aren't you finished your program now?
No, I will be officially done mid-December.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
when I'm
so a month,
going to graduate.
like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
that's incredible. You're getting your master's degree in 3 weeks. You already have a job.
Well,
too.
I'm hoping. I turned in my grad.
She's like, we'll see.
Well, no, I think I'll be fine in my classes, but we had to do a graduation project, and that's currently right now being reviewed by the faculty of the DLIS division, like their division. So now I just have to wait. And it doesn't matter that I have a 3.97 GPA.
That's incredible.
Which pisses me off, honestly. 3.97, couldn't just make it a 4.0, but whatever. But if I screw up the grad project, I will have to go back for another semester and do it again.
I don't think you will.
I really hope not. It was really hard.
My GPA is also 3.9. I'm kind of mad, though, because I should have gotten into this, like, honor society for students in the communication department, and I didn't. They're supposed to, like, send out a invitation letter type thing, and they never did. So I'm kind of annoyed. I'm also, like, not getting any scholarships, and I don't really see myself getting, like, any better job offers than somebody with a lower GPA. So I kind of am like, oh, why did I work so hard? Why did I try so hard for a high GPA? Yeah, for what, though? For me, kind of. So I can get that magna cum laude at graduation. But I'm also...
if you ever... Because, like, I really never thought I was going to go to grad school. Like,
yeah.
I think I said in the beginning here that I kind of, like, screwed up in undergrad. And because I never thought I was going to go get my master's degree. I was like, I'm fucking done after this. And then when I made the decision to get my master's degree, I had to work twice as hard because I had a shitty GPA from my undergrad.
Yeah. I'm pretty much have always wanted to get a master's degree. My mom has her master's degree. So I feel like I have to almost. Not like have to in a way, but like all my life she's either been in school or been teaching out of college. So it feels like something that I should do. And I do want to. It's not just like... I was just saying that like I've always felt like grad school was in it for me. Like I always felt like I was going to do it. But I also don't know if it's really necessary in this field. You know, media.
Well, I mean, you never know. You never know.
Yeah. So, we talked about you being 25 and 26 and 27.
I'm currently 27. I am working full-time as a children's librarian now.
Love that. So, you're getting your master's degree in library sciences.
Yes.
And you just got a job as a children's librarian. And in the last year, you've had how many jobs? Like 7? 8? Something like that?
No. So...
And not in a bad way. Not in like a, oh, she can't hold a job way.
No,
more so in like a... She'll take anything that comes her way just, like, for the fun of it.
Yeah, I was working 3 jobs at one time before this job because they all had crappy hours.
I have another friend who one time literally told me, she was like, I have to work 4 days next week. I've never worked more than 3 days in a row. And I was like, are you serious?
Shut up.
Yeah, she was like, she knew it, like, sounded bad, but, like, it was just funny. Anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, technically one of those jobs was an internship and it didn't pay. So, I mean,
ugh.
Yeah. But it was great. I loved the internship. I loved all the people there. I learned a lot.
Not only do internships not pay, you have to pay tuition to do your internship. Isn't that freaking ridiculous?
Yeah. So I would do the internship in the morning and then I would work my actual paying job in the afternoon, which was at an elementary school library. And then... the internship was a university library, and then to pick up some more hours if I needed like more money, which I always do, I would work custodian in the evening.
Damn. So your early 20s were spent putting up with bullshit, and your later 20s have been spent balancing things. Like jobs and your kid.
Grinding.
And your business and your master's program. That's crazy. And that's pretty much like why I wanted to interview you, because you do more things than anybody that I know in their 20s, you know? So I know this is kind of like a not loaded, but like difficult question to answer, but like what are some of the most valuable things you think you've learned in your 7 years in your 20s?
Okay, well, I don't want this to sound stupid or cliche, but it really is so true. Do what makes you happy. I wasted so much time being unhappy because I thought I was doing the right thing, or like I wanted to make somebody else happy. I was fully prepared to marry person B and be unhappy for the rest of my life. I literally thought that, like, well, this is it. I'm just going to be unhappy for the rest of my life. And
that's
that was
fine.
just going to be my life. That was it. Like, I really, really was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And that's not okay.
Isn't it so amazing, though? Because, like, now you're never going to settle for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if person B didn't happen to you, you might have had, like, a series of relationships where people treated you, or, like, you had to compromise on certain things. But now you know what you want. You know what you don't want. And you're like, if you can't give that to me, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
you know, like get out of my face. You know, and it's so great. Like it's inspirational.
The person, I can say,
I am
fuck you to whoever I
aspiring
want.
to be just like you, Sorsha, CEO.
The person that I was just with, like, over the summer, I can totally see myself, like, my younger self, sticking it out for a really long time, like, trying to make it work. But me now, I was like, I really don't like the way he tells stories.
Man, his stories are really boring. I don't know.
It's not even like they're boring. They were just annoying. Like, the way he told stories was annoying. Maybe that makes me sound nitpicky, but he also did drink a lot, and I did not like that for obvious reasons.
There you go.
And he lied, which is what person B did a lot. And I'm just like, can we all, like, get on the honesty train a little bit?
Yeah, can we grow up a little? When I met Pedro, I was 22 and he was 25, and I was like... a full-grown man. He's an adult.
Now I'm like 25, you're a child.
Well, now he's 31, and I'm like, you're a child. You just seemed grown up. No offense, boo. I love you. It's just... And the other thing is, like, it's hard to be a grown-up. Like, when I was 25, I was not as grown-up as I thought he was when he was 25. You know what I mean? So
that's
it's like...
something that I learned.
My expectations were totally skewed there.
Yeah, that's something that I've learned, is that adults... we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
Even
and that's
my
one
parents,
of those things that you think that sounds dumb, but like, because you see it in like memes all the time, I guess, where it's like, oh, me adulting, I thought I knew it. You know, although, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
No, like, I totally understand like what you're trying to say.
You just see it all the time where people are like, I thought I would know everything by the time I was 24, and now I'm 64, and I don't even know how to boil water. And like, it's true. It's like I feel like, especially the last maybe 3 or 4 years, and it might have been a combination of, like, COVID, my other, like, traumas I've been through, whatever, but, like, I feel like every single year in my 20s, I gained, like, 5 years of experience.
Yeah.
Or, like, 5 years of lessons learned, you know?
Yeah, like, being at home with my parents, I've really gotten to know them in a way that I didn't when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And, like, every day I see more and more, like, when I'm, like, with my mom, you are really just a giant teenager.
Yep.
Trying to hold it together like me.
Yep. The older I get, the more, like, I can analyze things that I went through, obviously, you know what I mean? So, like, I look back to my childhood, and my childhood was not bad in any way, you know what I mean? It was perfectly fine, no complaints. But sometimes I look back at the things that my mom did, and I was like, man, why did she do that? That was fucked up. And then I was like, why do you do half the shit you do raising your kid? You know, it's like, my mom was just trying to figure... And again, this makes it sound like my mom did some, like, horrible shit. No, my mom was great. It's just, like, obviously... Oh, I thought somebody was coming through the door. You know, it's just, like, it just puts it into perspective that, like, parents are adults. I don't know. Parents are human.
Yeah, parents
it's
are
kind of
human.
weird. I kind of had the same thing happen with, like, my college professors, because my mom's a college professor. So as that happened where I was like, oh my god, my mom is a person, I was like, oh my god, college professors are people too, and like they get stressed and they have to go to meetings they don't want to, and they have students that drive them crazy, and like they're just people. But yeah, I think everybody says that their 20s are full of valuable lessons, and you know, do what makes you happy is a good one, because it's so easy. And like we were just talking about with our therapists, how they told us like you don't have to do things that you don't want to do, you know, like you don't have to go places, go to parties, whatever. So it's like, if it's not something that's making you happy, it's a waste of your energy. And the older I get, the less energy I have. So I'm trying to conserve that shit.
Yeah.
My last question is, are you scared of turning 30? Because we are taught to be scared of turning 30.
Honestly, hell yes, I'm scared of turning 30. Are you kidding me? 30? Huh? Yeah.
I'm kind of scared in a way, because it's just like, I've only ever been a teenager or in my 20s. Like, yeah, I was obviously a kid, but like, you're not even aware that you're a person when you're a kid. So like,
children are people too.
They are, but like, they don't know that they are.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't anyway. But like, I'm kind of, and I'm not at the same time. I feel like it's just going to be another birthday. Pedro also is 31. He just turned 31 like 2 weeks ago.
Old man.
So I kind of like watched him go through the 30 thing, and like it hit him a little bit, not too hard, I don't think. But I feel like there's just going to be this whole other expectation of, I think if the same thing's going to happen when I was 25, I'm going to be like, man, I'm 30 and I haven't done anything. Even though like I have, and like by then I'll have done even more. It's just like, there's always that expectation of like, if you don't do this, 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 and this in this order, you're fucked up.
Yeah. And you know what? There is a part of me, like, I keyed, but like, you know, there is a part of me, I am really excited to turn 30, because I think my 30s is really going to open up the world for me. You know, I'm going to be officially done school. I'm going to have money under my belt. I'm hopefully going to have my own place. Like, I'm really going to start living the life that I've been dreaming of living for so long. So I think that's going to happen. But on a side note, and let's be real, ladies here, I feel that biological clock just a-ticking. I'm not even kidding. Like, I am looking at all of these people. I was pregnant first, okay? And now everybody is on their seconds and thirds?
I have
That's
none.
Not fair.
I'm 27 and I have not bore a child yet. You know what that means?
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know.
Most people have their first before they're like 24 or something, or 25.
Yeah, I was surprised with how many people were, you know, getting pregnant. Because I was like, I am young. I thought I was really young when I was pregnant and had Kieran. But I'm not alone.
No.
And
no, you're not.
But now I'm like,
Pedro was 20 when Lucas was born, so he was even younger than you.
Yeah, I guess like part of the fear is I have no significant other and I don't plan on it. So, but I really want that second baby.
Yeah.
So my plan, because this is how much I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody, I just want that sperm bank baby.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'm not playing that game again.
It is kind of a dumb question. I don't know why even. Anyway, doesn't matter. We have been going for 2 hours, and this was only supposed to be 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna be. No, it's fine. I'm just gonna edit it down a lot probably just for the assignment, just so that he doesn't have to listen to too much. But thank you so much for being here and for sharing everything and being so vulnerable. You talked about so many things that some people won't even talk to their friends or their mom about. You know what I mean?
Well, that's something else that I learned in my 20s. Going back, I also spent a lot of my life just keeping shit bottled up, and that really did not help me at all. Yeah.
It's really good to be vulnerable. There's a girl in my class, shout out Jay, who's doing a podcast, and she's going to be super vulnerable on hers. And I told her, I was like, that is incredible that you're willing to be that vulnerable with complete strangers, because not everybody can do that. It sounds like a backhanded compliment when I say it that way.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, like, I don't know.
No, I try to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? I'm pretty, I think, but I also haven't gone through nearly the amount of things you have, so.
Well, it's not something to brag about.
Yeah. Welp, this was
enlightening.
Yeah. I wanted to pick a word that wasn't too good and not too bad, you know. But it was enlightening. It was I always love talking to you.
If you ever want to have me back, this was fun. It gave me those theater vibes.
No, yes, I will. Absolutely. We'll see what happens with this podcast. Like I said, I would love to keep it going. It's just a matter of if I can, you know. So, yeah, this has been the first episode of Our 20s. I hope that you listeners out there have maybe taken something from this. My main goal with this podcast is to be a source of comfort for people who are going through those shitty times in their 20s and they feel that way, that, you know, they're doing everything wrong or their clock is ticking or whatever it is. So if this was comforting to you in any way, mission accomplished. If not, sorry, try again next time. I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Sorsha, for being here.
Thank you.